What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the AMC Livecast. It's me, Mike, Scale Model Outlaw, and
Jason from KRD, Klein Race Car Designs.
of
And
course, our
Bruce
awesome
is a
producer.
perfect
No, Bruce, I can't let you, I got to cut you off because I can't let you come on without the proper introduction. I
I'm
wish I had
sorry.
a drum. Drum roll, please. Ladies and gentlemen, our awesome producer, the guy that makes it happen, the guy that is all that there is to be. Yes, sir. You are who?
Bruce from Bruce's Eclectic World.
The
Ta-da!
greatest, the greatest producer there ever was. We have an awesome show ready for you guys tonight. I will tell you in advance. You're gonna want to go ahead and stretch your jaw muscles, rub your cheeks, because we have a guy backstage that is going to make you smile to the where it
Kleenex,
hurts.
please.
Do what,
Yep.
Bruce?
You need Kleenexes to wipe the tears from all the
You
laughter.
wipe the tears. Yeah,
Yeah.
Kleenexes to wipe the tears from your eyes. We have an awesome guest tonight to help us out on our build show and bring some what I know is going to be some very good entertainment. Bruce, do you want to roll it? Wait a minute. Let's talk about who it is. It is Frank
Okay.
from Frank's Model World. Frank's awesome. Frank Steffens is a great guy. We're looking
Absolutely.
forward to having him on. We're looking forward to having him on. So, Bruce, roll that beautiful bean footage.
I got to be honest. I was expecting a nicer green room.
Hey, there he is.
There he
Yay!
There he is. Welcome to the
Get
show,
my
Frank.
agent. Get my agent on the phone. This is ridiculous. The catering was pedestrian. Look at this slob fest that I'm in right now.
Listen,
What do you three
our
want?
Our people will talk to your
Cookies.
people. All right.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
We're doing
Welcome to
good.
the show, Frank.
And how's everybody down in the chat? I'm usually down there causing trouble with you folks. How's everybody doing? Hopefully well.
Oh, the boss is in there.
Oh yeah, I just saw the
Yeah,
boss
I see
ladies
that.
here. Y'all better be on your toes. So Frank, welcome to the show. We know we've been talking about this for a while, and we finally got you here. You had some personal work type issues you had to get through before you could be on the show, but we are so proud to have you. You want to talk a little bit about your history as far as when you got into modeling, when you started the YouTube stuff? Yeah, sure. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I started modeling about 7 years old. My father comes into the living room one day and he says to me, "You want to build a model?" And I'm like, I knew what they were because my aunt's husband, well, now ex-husband, he was a jerk. He had given me some model cars when I was a kid, and I used to just pick them apart right in front of him. And, like I knew what models were. I just didn't realize you were supposed to play with them. So my father brings me up to the local hobby shop in my neighborhood, and he buys me a Monogram ME 109. And I've since learned that it's actually a BF 109, if you know your history. So we go up there, we put it together. He gets me the tube of Testors glue, the orange and white tube. And to this day, somewhere in the dump in Staten Island, that glue still hasn't dried. That's how much glue I use. The plastic is still soft from the amount of glue. And I played with it for what? But I was hooked. And, like after I ripped the landing gear off with hard landings and everything, my father would strafe me on the couch. It was fun. So fast forward a couple of years, I was building model planes and a couple of tanks here and there. And my aunt, my godmother, asked my mother, Steven got a model car at his birthday party. Do you think Frank would want it? So my mother was like, yeah, give it to me. So she gives me this model. Now, if you remember the LA Dart, it's 73. It was the reissue of that one, the red one on the box, and it was still labeled MPC. So I take this thing home and I go to put it together, and I walk into where my mother is. I go, "Ma, is Aunt Terry mad at me?" She was like, no, why? This is horrible. This thing is awful. Like I was already a snob, because I had already had a couple of Tamiya kits of planes and stuff like that. I worked MPs. What is this garbage? So I figured like this. I didn't like it at first, but then the next time I went up to the local hobby shop, I bought a monogram kit, a 1/24th scale monogram kit, which they were pretty good. They went together pretty well. They were a little bit simplified, but they were still relatively well shaped, easy to put together. And then I started to like it. I enjoyed myself. And then, like I kept building. I started painting them. I every now and then, like if I was good, they'd buy me the Testers finishing center that came with the drop cloth and the jars of paint. I destroy that entire thing in about 4 hours. Like all the paints would be spilled. The drop cloth would fly out the window. So, but I stuck with it. Like usually when normal people get to high school, that's when they discover girls and they give up modeling. Not me. I discovered girls and they didn't discover me back. So it was like, well, I might as well build models.
I call it the TNT years. Tires and something else.
Yeah, not me. I just built models. They took one look at this. They took one look at this, and they're like, maybe you'll bloom later in life. Good luck. So I continued building. I got into airbrushing, all that kind of stuff. So even through adulthood, through college, I always built models. So after I graduated college, I did a job with the phone company, and I get introduced through a friend to this nice little Italian girl from Brooklyn, and gives me a phone number. I call her up and I'm talking to her and I'm making her laugh and we're setting up the first date or whatever. And she goes, "So what do you do for fun?" I'm like, like she's probably expecting to hear like, "Oh, I play golf," or whatever it is. I build models. She goes, "What?" "Yeah, I build models." "Really?" She goes, that's actually cute. I went, "All right, we're getting something." I just got to get her. Yeah, I just got to get past, her seeing my face, and I'm in there. So we go on the first date, love at first sight. We get engaged 6 weeks later, and then like after we get engaged, she actually says to me, "Give me one of those models." So I gave her the Revell 1967 Plymouth GTX. It had only been out on the market for maybe a year or two after I met her. I give her that. She called. I drive home. I lived in Queens. She was from Brooklyn. So it took me about a half hour to get home. I get home. There's already a message on my answering machine. "Call me as soon as you get in." So I call her. I think something's wrong. She goes, "I just want you to know I had a rearview mirror super glued to my forehead." I go, how did you manage that?" She goes, "I super glued a rearview mirror to my forehead." She goes, "I'm never touching one of these things again." Oh, all right. So the only hiatus we get married. I moved to Brooklyn. Her parents had a 2-family house. We take the apartment upstairs. We threw the old lady out that was living there. Hit the bricks.
Get out.
Oh, Rose, pack your stuff up and beat it. So we move her out. It's a small apartment. There's no place for me to set up anything because it's the kitchen table and that's it. Small apartment. So it wasn't until we bought a house out here in Long Island in 2004 that I could start building again, which, that was my wife said, she goes, "We're buying a house out by where your parents and your sister are." I go, "Why there?" She goes, "Well, I don't want to move to Staten Island because then you move from Staten Island, you move to New Jersey, and I don't want to move to New Jersey," which I understood. I love you, Frizzo. I love you, Dave Wood. I love you, all you guys from New Jersey. I just don't want to live near you.
You too, Tooch.
We'll leave it at that.
Too. We had that conversation earlier, or in the warm up. Yeah, Jersey's probably no. They don't even let you pump your own gas in Jersey.
Yeah, if you're not allowed to pump your own gas or turn left, doesn't say a lot.
That's right. The turn left too.
I love you. I love you, New Jersey. Please don't be angry with me. It's just it's low hanging fruit. It's real easy.
It is. It is. But again, this is coming from the guy who lives in Florida, which looks like a giant something hanging off of the United States. So,
Boing.
Wait a
Frank,
minute.
I heard you talking about, when you got that first kit and everything. In my mind, as you were telling that story, I feel like I'm watching Barney Rubble and Betty jump in the car with their little chubby kid in the back and heading down to. I mean, it was like the Flintstones. Did they? I mean, did they make them out of stone back then, or how did they make them?
It wasn't that way. We've been married for 25 years this April.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
Right.
She's an incredibly lucky young lady. Really.
Yeah.
She is. She
Walk
is. I mean,
around
look
with
at that
all
arm
that.
candy that she's got.
Look at all that.
Arm candy she's got, right?
She keeps me ensconced with all the finery. So I noticed that Chester from Billboard's Builds, he said there's nothing wrong. Isn't he from Massachusetts?
Oh yeah, let's
Billboard's
not go there.
Builds?
I don't know.
Think so.
I'm not sure where he's from. I'm sure he
I don't know
was
where he's from. Yeah.
I actually love everybody from Massachusetts. I'm not a Yankee fan, so I'm not like other New Yorkers where I got a beef with people from I love Boston. I love it. I don't remember any time ever being there, which is a good thing because I had a great night, but I do love going there. So
Kalankowicz just came on. He said, "Did I miss anything? I was trying to get a rearview mirror off my forehead."
Oh, okay, Chester. All right.
Yeah. He's from New Jersey. Yeah.
I kid because I love.
Right.
Right.
Don't let him fool you.
Did you guys see that Paul's in the chat and he was like, "I'm glad the enforcer's here." I'm like, "Listen, guys, you can call him the enforcer. He is my PR guy, like the best PR. You got a problem, you send him to me, Mikey. I'll take care of him."
Forget about it.
Talk to them. Just give me their phone number. I'll call them. You got a problem? So we buy the house out here. The only thing I wanted was a basement. I said, I don't care how big the yard is. I don't care how many bedrooms. We'll figure it out. I don't care how many bathrooms, whatever. How old the roof is. I just want a basement. So I got a basement. It's this corner of a small, like there's a finished part over here that's when we bought the house was like the 70s rumpus room with the dark wood paneling on it. There was a
God
there. I was
you walk in the room and the Bee Gees are playing.
Yeah.
It was awful. And the girl we bought the house from, she had like 45 cats, and I'm deathly allergic to them, and they all live down here. So as soon as I opened the door to the basement, I just got hit with it. Boom. My eyes blew out to here. I chugged a bottle of Benadryl just to keep myself alive. I finally started building again in 2004 when we moved out here, and then I got involved with the online aspects of the hobby, like forums and stuff like that. But at the time when I moved out here, I was building cars. But every now and then I'll go into a foray. I'll go back and go into a foray of building planes. Believe it or not, I'm of the opinion of my work. I think I'm a better airplane builder than I am a car builder.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think I'm better at planes than I am.
We've all seen your kit or car builds. I don't know if I've ever seen any one of your aircraft builds. We're super impressed with your car builds. I can only imagine your airplane builds, but not to cut you off or whatever. But
no.
We recently went through the turkey shoot thing, and we all stepped outside of our genre. And it's got me looking at Minicraft stuff. Rob Riv and them, those guys over there brought something new to the table for me. And now I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been looking at the truck, Minicraft truck stuff, like the 2.5 ton stuff, the old German stuff, and Now, I'm not going to, when I'm looking at them, I'm like, that would look good slammed, or that would look good with swamp tires on it. You know, so I'm about to rock their world a little bit because
And hot
military
rod 'em.
guys do not believe in modifying military vehicles. It should have the right amount of rivets. It should have the decals in the right place because it's a military. You're building replicas. Not me. I'm going to mess some stuff up.
Oh yeah, they'll love that.
Oh yeah.
They will love that. It's
I'm
that's
sure.
one of the best parts of model cars is you can do whatever you want.
Yep.
You know, if you want, unless you declare something is a documented replica of a particular car, you could just say whatever you want. You know,
Right?
I
saw this.
I just
I saw this at the Walmart parking lot, and I want to build one like it.
there you go. I put a washer bottle, a washer bag in my 70 Mustang that I built for Blue Ox group build, the Street Machine group build. I put a little, where is it? This way? This way. The blue bag.
Hang on just a second, Bruce. Yeah, get it back up there, Bruce. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. They didn't have that.
No.
It didn't come with that, but I got it from VCG Resins and I liked it. So it's what are you gonna do? Beat me up?
Paint turned out beautiful on that Mustang.
It did.
It did. And
yeah.
Speaking for me and Bruce, what paint did you use?
This is Scale Finishes, House of Color. Sunset is the orange over Candy Wild Cherry, and then they were both sprayed over Orion Silver base, which is the accent stripe.
Beautiful.
And I built this as if the way I would have wanted to have built it when I was 16 years old, which was the age that I was when I first built this kit for the first time, because this thing was around when I was a kid. So I put the center lines on it. I got tire decals from Joseph Osborne over at Fireball Model Works, because when I was a kid, if I tried painting this on, I'd get so angry. I'm not even exaggerating. I once bit a tire in half just because I was so mad. I got Goodyear, I got GT, I got Radia, and I messed up the L, and I just started biting the tire because I was flipping out. So I wanted to get as much of the stuff that I would have wanted as a kid on. So I put the braided fuel lines and the radiator hoses and spark plug boots. I think I made my first order to Detail Master. I had my mother call the order in when I was about 16 years old. Like, she was like, they're not going to steal my credit card. I go, no, why would they do that? It's not a thing. And they didn't. I mean, it was, but like, it was all mail order. If you wanted something, calling something in over the phone was like newfangled. Nobody did that back then. Everything was through the mail.
Magazine. You got it out of that yellow. Was it Auto World or Auto Model, whatever that magazine was, and then you had
Scale
to
Auto
send them your
Enthusiast,
money and then they'd send it to you. So,
Matt
from Lucas E asked the best question, and now we're talking about that awesome Mustang that you built. Does it have yellow spark plug wires?
No, it does not. It has gray.
Oh my God, Frank! I can't believe you let us down like that.
Motorcraft. It's got to have Motorcraft wires on it.
It has gray. I don't put yellow spark plug wires on because I'm an aristocrat.
Pinky out.
Pinky's out. That was actually a joke in my neighborhood. Whenever, like, where I'm from, it was kind of like a working class neighborhood. So we were all dirtbags. Like, we lived in apartments and stuff, and like working class, nobody owned the house. So when we would go out drinking, we'd go to like the highfalutin neighborhoods like Forest Hills or Glendale, stuff like that. And when we'd walk in, we go, guys, remember, Pinky's out like an aristocrat. And we get thrown right out of the bar. They throw us right out. All right. The floor is, get out of here.
You're in the wrong bar.
Yeah. You starting already, Steffens? Get out.
So talk about your what inspired you? How did you get involved in the whole YouTube thing? Because you took off. I remember when you came in, and your name was like all over the script. You and Joe from Big Sky Model. You guys like. I mean, you came in. I think you came in a little bit before he did, but you guys are putting out great content and you blew up. So what gave you the inspiration and I know why you blew up and why he blew up because you guys are putting out great stuff. But what inspired?
And we're handsome, and we're handsome. Say we're handsome.
Well, Joe is definitely a handsome man, right? He's a big mountain.
He is. He's a very handsome man.
He's very handsome man.
Montana mountain.
Right.
But
Yeah.
what made me want to start a channel was I noticed a disturbing trend within the hobby through my involvement in the online community aspect of modeling that I wanted to try to counter. And that was the gatekeeping that you've run into.
Mm-hmm.
To me, especially this time of year. Like this time of year, there is a guy who's not watching, or a gal who's not watching this channel right now, but there's a present underneath a Christmas tree for them that's a model. And what's going to happen is they haven't built a model since they were a kid. So they're going to open this up on Christmas Day and they're going to go, wow, I forget how to do this, but I remember how much I loved it. And the first thing they're going to do is they're going to hit YouTube and they're going to be fed certain content that doesn't necessarily provide them with the best information to get where they want to get to, or to like make good use of the gift that they're receiving in that model. So they might actually wind up using materials that they see being used without necessarily being told how to use them, and then think bad things will happen and not want it, and wanting to fix what happened, they'll then go to groups on Facebook where they'll say this happened and everybody has seen this. This happened. What went wrong? And then they'll get 400 replies of I never had a problem.
Yeah.
I never had a problem. That's not an answer.
Yeah.
The answer is you had a problem because you didn't use proper painting techniques. So what I wanted to do was create a channel where I could demonstrate ways to do things, at least the way I do them, which is not necessarily the best way to do them, but I can demonstrate that it is a way to do it and achieve predictable and repeatable results. Because I see the frustration of people because you get to a point, like I build models because I can't be a pilot because of my eyes. So I couldn't fly for the military. So that broke my heart once. So then when I was older, it was like, it's something like $12,000 to become a private pilot. And then it's almost like $1,000 at this point for a couple of hours to rent a plane. Who's got the money for that?
Right.
And I can't, even with the cars. Where am I getting a 69 Camaro that you're going to buy a rusted out Hulk? It's going to be $25,000. Yep. So I can have them all. I could have everything that I've been in love with as a kid, as a model, and be satisfied and be happy, and then produce results and then share it, because that's what this community is about. Yep. It's about sharing what we know so that people can produce results that they can be proud of and that makes them happy. And that's the essence of all of it. We don't get into this to make money. Nobody's making money building model cars on the internet. It's just not happening.
No.
We're doing it because we don't want people to leave the hobby with a bad taste in their mouth because they went to a knowledge resource like YouTube and they got bad information, ruined the model, the gift that they were given, and then when they went to what they thought was a community, they got answers like, well, I never had a problem. When you say something like, I've never had a problem, what you're really saying is the problem's you. You're the problem. And people don't want to hear
Justin, you hear that, right? Justin, Justin's in the chat. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Justin Ryan. He's from the
who the hell said Rust-Oleum?
Yeah, you said Rust-Oleum. You can't say Rust-Oleum 3 times, Justin, to show up. But Frank, I kind of led you into that question because Bruce, Jason, and I, and you are part of Paul's left. You made one of the most honest and uh, for me, it hit all the right points. Talking about the gatekeeper thing, and we don't have to go into it because it was kind of controversial or whatever. But when you were talking about the gatekeepers, for sure, then those are the guys that are going to ruin it for the guy that's trying to get back into the hobby, right? And if you want to expand on that without mentioning, everybody that was involved, we don't want to bring any of the names that you brought. When you made that comment, you did that privately. We don't necessarily want to bring those guys into the
Yeah,
the
no,
circle. It's sort
It's
of the
not about
gatekeeper
throwing.
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing with gatekeepers are they've reached a point in their of progression within the hobby that they're most likely never going to achieve. And if there's something like you have to have a modicum of self-awareness. I'm 52 years old. I am never going to be a Bob Jernigan. I'm never going to be a Tim Kolankowitz. I'm never going to be a Marcos Cruz. I'm not even going to be a Lewis Hickson. He's in late 20s, early 30s. I have that knowledge that I'm never going to get there, but I'm going to have fun trying. There are people who can't make that distinction, who say to themselves, I can't get a good finish on a model car body, and I will not let anybody else pass by me ever again. And they it's such a terrible way. So what they'll do is they'll stifle, they'll flood everything with their well, I never had a problem doing this. And what you're doing is you're thwarting the efforts of the person returning to the hobby, and you might be stifling the love that somebody has yet to achieve of the hobby.
Yep.
We're not getting.
Go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry I cut you off.
Yeah, it's the whole experience that the hobby can bring you in multiple ways. Like you said earlier on I can own these cars and not have to deal with the real one. And you can be as creative as you want. You can build it how you want, what color you want. If you want to have the motor in the trunk like the LA Dart, you can put it in the trunk,
You do whatever you want.
Yep. 100%.
And the problem where it gets into it is, like, you always hear these gatekeepers saying, oh, the hobby is dying. And they have something to say about it. They always blame the younger generation. Oh, kids don't want to get involved with modeling because whatever. They'll make up something like, oh, they just like video games and the instant gratification. First off, that's wrong. Tell me you haven't played a video game since the mid-'80s without telling me you haven't played a video game since the mid-'80s. Because if you know anything about video games, there's campaigns, you develop a character, you months and years building this up. World of Warcraft, all of these things. And you don't know what young people are into. You don't want to know because you don't care, because it's more for me. When I bet you all four of us, we could, or anybody who's a content creator down in the chat, you can look at your demographics, and chances are good your demographics probably look the exact same as mine. 99% male.
Yep.
35 to 55.
35 and 55, and then 23% over 65, and then 21% 35 to 45. All of our demographics look the same, but it doesn't necessarily reflect the reality, because if you think about it, a 16-year-old, chances are good, is going to use one of their parents' accounts to watch our content, unless they're watching it on a personal device like a phone. Females tend not to identify themselves online for safety reasons.
Yeah.
But there are females who build models. There are females that are really, really good at building models.
Yeah.
We have a mutual friend, the scale model Snail, Jessie. She is an amazing,
fantastic.
Outstanding builder. Yeah, absolutely great.
Tiffany's builder. Down in the comments. Gloria's down in the comments.
Gloria. Yep.
Her Jeep is amazing. Tiffany's Jeep with that Cummins in it is absolutely
Amazing.
awesome.
Yeah.
So the problem is we have to develop a community where people like that feel welcomed. And we have to stop. It's not us doing it, but the gatekeepers need to stop putting up that gate and making that barrier for people to come into the hobby and enjoy themselves. We want this to be a welcoming thing. The social aspects of this hobby are the best parts. The community that we have here on YouTube is the best part of the hobby.
Yep.
I would rather talk to you guys for 4 hours while I'm building something than I agree, Kevin. Absolutely correct.
Yep.
I would rather sit here and talk to you guys about building models sometimes than actually be frustrated while I'm building a model. You know what I mean? While I'm sitting down here myself.
And Gloria, I'm sorry, Frank. Gloria, we didn't mean to leave you out. Stout Creations is another one.
I said Gloria.
He
I
said
said
Gloria.
Sorry, I left you out,
You
Gloria. I
didn't
didn't
forget
mean to
one
do that.
though.
Yeah.
But
Mike
she
left
is-
you out,
she-
Gloria. The modeling.
Oh yeah, Linda.
The
Yeah,
modeling
Linda.
chick.
Linda.
She's very good at what she does.
Yep.
Linda's great.
Yeah.
Very good.
But not only do we have to create an environment where people other than 99% males are participating, we want to invite them to the social aspect. So that might include maybe curtailing the way that we act. You know what I mean? Because there have been situations. I brought my wife, and I it didn't turn her off to model cars completely. We did eventually get the rearview mirror off her forehead. But I brought her to NNL East probably in 2008. It was the first time that I had ever gone. And this has nothing to do with the people that put on NNL East. Those are magnificent human beings. I love them. But NNL East, even at the time, was a huge show. People from all around. So I pull up and we park. And anybody who's ever been to NNL East knows that the venue is adjacent to railroad tracks. So I pull in, nose first towards the railroad track, and a guy stops, parks his car next to ours. Him and 3 of his friends get out. They all got like bags of stuff in their hands, and they proceed to go to the bathroom on the tracks, 10 feet from where my wife was. Now think about that. My wife laughed it off, probably because what she's used to seeing. But later on, I went on to a forum and I had said, guys, we kind of gotta be careful. Well, you don't realize guys have been on the road for 16 hours. That's not how you handle that situation. You want to keep this hobby going. Stuff like that shouldn't be acceptable. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying we have to walk around like choir members and nothing but innocence, but we have to create a welcoming environment for the social aspect where we can bring our families and get them involved.
Keep it positive. Yep.
And that's
Keep it positive,
why I want to. Yeah, that's why you see, like, my daughter is sitting sometimes in some of my videos right where I'm sitting right now, because I want her to be part of it. I want to share this with her. And then she doesn't necessarily build cars. She repaints her toys, or she'll I print out Hello Kitty stuff for her. Any involvement in the hobby that's creative is excellent. We have to, and the thing that you guys did, go ahead.
I want to bring up something that Rod, I apologize if I'm butchering the last part. Rod Charon, I feel like I know where he's coming from. He says he doesn't necessarily want to be a part of the community. He builds it for his solitude, like he's building it by himself, kind of like we did way before YouTube and in the message boards and all that stuff that we got involved. And Rod, that's awesome, dude. If that's what you want to do, if that's your quiet time, if that's for you to do, and that also translates to people that don't necessarily want to compete in competitions. Now, not taking anything away from either one of those guys. Obviously, Rod, we're happy that you're here and taking part and leaving comments. We appreciate that for sure. But you should, I think, and this is just me, maybe it's just my mentality, but even if you're building by yourself, if you're Rod and you're building by yourself and you build this kit, you kind of want to do better on the next one, right? Or if you're completely happy, so be it. You're not necessarily building for anybody, you're not building for competition, but I feel like, and maybe it's just me, you should always want to do better on the next one. Is that a just me thing, or do you guys? Chat, do you guys feel like you try to do better on every model? Is that me?
That's me too, but I still think that not everybody has that approach. I think some people just get a whim and they go, "Oh, yeah, that would look cool pink," and then they take it home and they paint it pink and they put it together and put it on the shelf, and that's fine, right? But like I think most of us that are in here or content creators, I would have to say, are definitely trying to improve their skill set, their next build to be better. That's why you've had to come up with these slump busters, like the turkey shoot and stuff to get you out of your funk,
Yeah,
Right.
to get you out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
You're never
Yeah,
gonna push yourself.
I feel the same way.
I was a garbage builder. I still part of me considers myself barely average in any genre that I participate in, but I was really just absolute hot dumpster fire garbage until I started watching Plasmo on YouTube. And he's got probably one of the largest subscriber bases, and his videos, I watch Will Patterson and Deuce Models, and they actually taught me to bring my modeling to a whole new level. And then I started watching guys like Doug White and the Scale Modeling Channel and the Muscle Car Modeler with Raul. And that upped my game. I was never able to produce a halfway decent finish until maybe 5 years ago. Like the only thing I was happy with orange peel. Like if it didn't have drips in it, I was fine.
Yep.
It wasn't until I saw other people's works and I started going to shows and I saw what people could accomplish that I wanted to push myself further. And even though most of the time that I spend building down here by myself, the laundry is right there. So I do the laundry, I do the washing and the drying while I'm down here. Yep. I watch videos and build, and I'm still by myself, but I have to be honest. Being part of a community has made it very special to me. Yep. And it's made it more special to me, especially considering one of the things that I talked about on one of my model cars and coffee was the gifts. Like as a kid, most of my aunts, my uncles, every birthday and Christmas present, when I received communion, confirmation, I got a model. And when I graduated high school, they gave me money, so I went and I bought models.
Yeah.
And like so much of the hobby itself is a gift that, most people don't care that you build models. They're like, oh yeah, that's nice. But to find a community of people that'll be like, oh yeah, you build models?
Cool.
It's it's fun. It's fun.
Well, it's like for me, I work in a R&D lab, so sometimes you tell engineers or people that, are just so impacted in their job what you do for fun. And they're just like, what is that? And then you find yourself explaining it to them. And once you start explaining it to them, it goes from, oh, that's kind of like a child's toy to what? They got 3D printers. They got this. And especially nowadays with the technology that's out there. Now I got some engineer guys that are following my channel. And they're just constantly like, hey, send me some links of these printers. I'm interested. I'd like to print parts and just play with stuff. And can I print an Iron Man or can I print Marvel characters? I'm like, yeah, you can print whatever you want,
Yeah. One of my forays was one of my many people. I joke around a lot and I say my hobby is actually collecting hobbies. And one of my forays was I went into radio control planes. And when I flew radio control planes, most people don't know, Long Island is the cradle of aviation. We had Republic, we had Grumman, and I flew out east the field that I flew at was Grumman Engineers. It was their club.
Yeah.
So I'm out there. You'd pull a radio control plane out of the trunk of your car. They just look at it and they like nudge each other. You're like, what? You're like, what? They go, it's not going to fly right. How do you know? You can't. You didn't even see it. It's not going to fly right. Their engine. These guys built the lunar escape module that took off from the moon. They don't need to pick your model up to know that it's not going to fly well. They could just look at it, and they like the guy goes, "You don't have the right thrust angle." What are you talking about? I just built it. He goes, yeah, something's wrong. That's not going to fly. Sure enough, I'd put the battery in, I'd take off, and the thing's all over the place. Told you.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. That was an expensive hobby, boy.
Yes.
If you look at my channel before,
Jason knows about. I dipped my toe off in that, not the aviation part, but the 4-wheeler. I had crawlers and bashers. Jason, on the other hand, yeah, he's very deep into that stuff. He knows all about that RC stuff.
Yeah.
It's fun. And the thing is, like, some people ask me about that as well. And it's like, well, the thing that you really don't realize is that all the adjustable parts in there, like shocks, the different oils, the pistons, you can learn all the compression, rebound, geometry of, suspension, I mean, it's a lot of fun in itself, tuning them. So,
yeah.
But you can't crash them. You can't crash them.
No.
One of them said to me.
But back to we're kind of drifting a little bit towards RC stuff, and maybe even spend a little bit of time on the gatekeeper thing.
Listen, Mike, we're not going to be doing this for an hour. We're going all night. Jason's on. He's on vacation.
I'm on vacation.
Bruce is
Let's go.
retired. You and me are the only two that are still working.
I gotta be to work in the morning.
Doesn't matter. Call in sick.
Calling in.
We're taking this to the end of the year. That's it. We're not going nowhere.
What's that number, Mike?
We're ringing it in, man.
What's that number, Mike?
Right, call.
I'll call.
Hey, listen,
give me your boss's number. I'll call
sick
him.
for Mike. He's not gonna make it in the morning.
That's right.
He's not gonna be there.
Mike, perfect. Give me his number. I'll call him.
Right. You're my PR guy, right? You're gonna take care of that for me.
Listen up, pal. Mike's not coming in today, and you're paying him.
Deal with it.
I can hear that conversation now.
Don't make me come down there.
I can hear that conversation when I do show up to work. Who the hell was the Yankee that you had calling me? It was that guy. I felt like
you won't believe it. He's a big fat nerd.
I can hear my supervisor now. I felt like if I didn't say okay, I was going to get my kneecaps busted or something.
He said he's sending a guy with a van from Home Depot down here to Florida. What the
hell? That's the guy that does my colonoscopies.
Yeah, that's with the hand on his shoulders. Yeah, we know that guy. I met him. So talking about kits, we've had this conversation with a couple different people that came on. If you had to make a list of the top 5 kits that you like when you're looking, obviously I think you're in the same boat with us in that you're looking for content first, whatever the kit's about first. But if you had to make a list of 5 kit companies, what would your list look like?
Okay, I'm going to count down 5 being
5 manufacturers that you in your order, number 1 to number 5. Yep.
Okay.
Or number 5, number 1, whatever. Number 5, whatever works for you.
For model cars, number 5 is going to be Aoshima. Number 4 is going to be AMT. Anything produced after 1990, anything that was originally tooled after 1990. That's number 4. Number 3, I'm going to say, what would I put in number 3? I would probably put Mobius.
Wow,
because they're good stuff. I mean, you got to be really good at origami or Tetris to get that stuff back in the box, but
That's true.
It's a quality model.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Revell, and number 1 is Tamiya.
Yeah.
Airplanes, Revell, gone. Airplanes, number 5, I would say Edward. No, I would put. Well, I'll just do 1, 2, and 3. Number 3 would be, I would say. Where are you? All right, I'm only going to do 2. Edward and Tamiya, tied for first and second. If you want the best quality for your buck, Edward and Tamiya. For armor, Mini Art, which you were talking about before, Mike. Really nice stuff, but very, very finicky and a lot of parts. There's a lot of stuff going on.
That's what the guys, Rob Adams and Riv, were telling me about. Very finicky. Tooch was telling me about that. Very finicky, good stuff, good plastic, but very, very finicky. In fact, Tooch told me, he said, how old are you, Mike? I said, I'm 53. He's like, okay, you're going to spend the next 20 years building one mini art kit, but when it's done, it's going to be very amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, and Tamiya,
they're super detailed. There's layers on layers on layers of stuff.
Where are they produced then? What, across the pond or
Ukraine? I think the Ukraine.
I'm with you, Frank. I believe they're Ukrainian. And listen, guys, I mean, they make a lot of tanks. They make a lot of armor stuff. I believe they make aircraft, but they make a lot of military trucks that, early on, we were talking about that before the show started. Ambulances and then these different WW2 especially vehicles that you could customize.
Ukraine.
Ukraine. So you can customize them to make them your own, right? So you can slam them, jack them up, or whatever you want to do. You don't necessarily have to build them out of the box as car builders, but it's definitely that I think more than anything, the Insanity guys have pointed me in that direction and opened me up to different ideas and different thought, definitely different techniques and all that. We can get the technical side of it, but I look at the trucks and I'm going, okay, we take 2.5 ton military trucks and bob them so they're single axle and make them into pond trucks here in Florida. That's a thing, right? I mean, that's a very common thing on 1-to-1 scale.
That's a Florida thing.
That's because we got the swamps down here. We don't have much in the way of rocks and boulders and all that. But we take. Listen,
they don't have much to do down there.
I've shown up to the Rednecks with Paychecks party, and there's a track vehicle with a pontoon boat chassis on top of it, right? So it's basically, I'm sure it wasn't a tank. It was probably some sort of track, but they put a pontoon on top of it. That was like the party bar.
Yeah, right? those events, you're just there for the chicks. That's all you're there for.
That's not true. I love my girl. She loves me, and I'm afraid to die. Look at here. Frank Donati is here. And if you guys don't know Frank, he's from the Insanity.
Been in there. Yeah, he's been in there.
He's here. Good to see him.
Yeah.
Of course, our good friend Jason.
Yeah.
Gotta love Jason. Wait a minute. Silence, everybody. I gotta do it. Jason, there goes my hero.
There we go.
He hates it. He hates it when I do that, but I love it.
Who sings that? Mike, who sings that?
Not me.
Let's keep it that way.
We just got copy written, so I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dave Grohl's knocking at the door right now. You better answer.
Everybody's turning the channel now.
Yeah, better him than Courtney Love.
Yeah.
But as far as car goes, I will build more Revell than I will build Tamiya. But a Tamiya full detail car kit is elegant and fun to put together with almost no problems.
See, getting back to the 5 kits thing, I am going. We had this conversation. Maybe you were in. We've had this conversation before. For me, on car kits, because of the variety as far as the subject, Mobius is my number one car kit. Tamiya is right below that, but I feel like Mobius and Tamiya are, to quote the cliche, you can almost put paint and glue in the box, shake it up, and you get a model out of it. I appreciate the engineering that goes involved in both of those kits.
Yep.
Yeah. The thing is, what
Sorry,
we're gonna start seeing more of is less kits and more of this.
More files.
No kit manufacturer is ever gonna make a 1977 Pontiac Can-Am. They're just not going to. It's never going to happen. They're not going to make.
And I don't disagree.
A 73 Chevelle wagon. It's never going to happen.
I don't disagree, but I think there's a place for both. I don't
absolutely.
I don't believe that Revell and now round two, that's took it on all those kits that they took on. I don't think they're ever going to go away. Now, what in my perfect world, like in Mike's perfect world, we'll just use round two for an example. Round two reaches out to these Icemans, these Joshes, these Chris from Scale Speed Garage. Hey, we've got this kit, but we know our motor is lacking. We know that our tires are lacking. These are old molds. Maybe we produce the body. Maybe we produce, however they decide to chop it up.
Yeah,
I feel like to the best of both worlds would be you get a model kit that has 3D printed stuff in it.
Yeah, that would be a power move on round two's part, and I hope they have the guts to do it, because the quality that you'd be able to get out of Joel and Josh and Chris and Matthew and all those folks, the quality of the parts and the pieces that you're gonna get it's something that you just can't do, even with slide molding and injection molded plastic. You can't get that kind of detail. If you're looking down the Venturis of a carburetor in 1/25th scale, right, you're not looking at something that's injection molded. That's 3D print.
Yep.
I mean, the carburetors, when in the late 70s, 80s, when we were building, the carburetor was a blob that maybe had a round thing on top of it, right? I mean,
with the air cleaner to center on.
Right. Basically, that's all it was. Right, Jason. That was what it was for, just to center the air cleaner, because you couldn't see it anyway.
That was the main thing for me to buy a printer, was just to do carburetors. Yep. Yeah, that's beautiful.
You see the Ventura?
Yeah.
You see the Venturis?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see in our ratio. I'll show you the turbo that's on. This is 1/20th scale, so it'll blow up a little better. But you can see the fins on the turbo that Joel made me, right? I mean, this is you're not going to get that with an injection molded thing. So maybe they take the initiative and do that. Who knows? I just don't think. And I had this conversation. I was once on as Scale Model Outlaw. I was once on a podcast like this, and that person believed that 3D printing is going to take over, or especially the file part of it. And I'm like, that would require every builder
to
buy a printer, a computer, first a computer and a printer, and take the time to. And I've heard, and Jason, you can speak on this better than me, and Frank, and you too, Bruce, because I don't have a printer. I understand that that's a hobby all in itself.
Yep,
it is. There's a significant learning curve involved with 3D printing, but the encouraging part is I'm an idiot and I'm able to figure it out so far.
Me too.
Yeah. So far, so good.
Old.
I'm actually at a point where I'm producing parts that I'm going to be using. Actually, one of my upcoming builds is a 1964 Ford Country sedan station wagon. I'm going to be making this. Every single bit except for the glass is going to be 3D printed. Every single part. And I have it printed already. It's just I gotta get around to building it. The kit manufacturers will always be there, and we will need the kit manufacturers.
Yep.
Agreed.
But we will need them always. And I want nothing but success for them. I think though in model cars, especially, maybe not so much in armor, except for figures. Figures are gonna start to really come into their own with 3D printing.
Yep.
Not so much in planes because a 3D printed plane is going to be very, very, very. Do I think will they ever do production prints? I don't know. I think they're going to start to use. They probably already do use some form of 3D printing for rapid prototyping for mold.
For molds, yeah.
But parts that you're going to see in the box, Edward does it in model planes. They do produce kits that have 3D. They have resin casted from 3D printed parts. I don't know if they'd be able to justify the pricing on that because people flip out as it is. And I understand a lot of people participate in the hobby on a fixed income or a limited budget. And I think adding 3D printed parts would add significantly to the cost, not necessarily because of the physical cost of the resin or even the design and printing of it. It's the amount of time that's going to take to do a run of whatever parts they're going to put. So it takes a significant amount of time.
There are complete kits. Joel offers, but he runs them. But getting right back to what you were saying, Frank. So they do offer. Josh just offered the Slayer thing for Christmas, but they're going to be limited production, right?
Yeah.
Because it takes so much for those guys. They're only going to produce so many, right? Because they have to. The Uncertainty that I got from Iceman, beautiful kit, awesome kit. And he ran it for a little bit longer and whatever, and then he just had that damn wagon, the Suburban, not a Suburban, but the Dodge version of the Suburban. I wanted that Plymouth version of it. I wanted that so bad, but it wasn't in my time frame and it wasn't in my budget, so I couldn't get it. But so I do think getting what they do offer them, but like you said, Frank, I think it's going to be limited production.
There's so much, so much time in them, so much time, so much labor. That's why those kits start out at $100 for the most part. But there's still going to be those builders, and I consider myself one of those builders that wants to scratch build stuff too. So you're going to have, if you're doing that learning progression with every build, eventually you're going to want to try and do stuff from scratch. So, I mean, there's a lot of guys that just love, scratch build. Tim Klinkwitz is another one. He loves chopping that stuff up, doing scratch building. Yeah.
And he's good at it.
Yeah. So,
from my experience, I just don't have the talent to scratch build. I'm a trainable monkey. That's all I am. Like, I can watch other people do stuff and then try to figure out how they did it. And but I am unoriginal. I'm derivative. I don't have an original thought in my head when it comes to manifesting something in 3 dimensions that doesn't exist already. Like, I just don't have that talent.
So
Tim's got that talent.
Let me ask you this, Frank. Do you do a lot of research on the build? I mean, do you Google stuff? Do you Google the correct things?
When I was, it depends on the subject. So now the mod tops that I printed the decals for.
Yep.
I swore up and down I was not going to draw those decals, and then I got hurt, and I was out of work, so I had nothing else to do, and I wound up drawing those decals, and in so doing, I had to research, what you could get on what car and stuff like that. So it depends on the research. It depends on the subject. If you look at like engines that I've detailed, they're not going to run very well because there are things that just I look at it, I go, I don't want to be bothered with that.
So you don't get the firing order right then.
I do get that's the only thing of all things. I won't put a return back to the gas tank, but the firing order will be right. I don't understand my lunacy.
I'll be honest.
I think Joe hit the nail on the head, and I don't mean to cut anybody off. Sorry, Jason, but
Oh,
I
it's
think
fine.
Joe hit the nail on the head. That's the beauty of our hobby. There's room for everybody, every level, every concept, every design,
Yep.
every thought process. There's room for everybody. If you don't buy 3D printed motors because it's not in your budget, use
Don't.
what's available in the kit and make it look as good as you can. Listen, there's guys, the 70s, 80s, 90s guys, and I have one in our club that he's actually the president now. He's created some stuff out of nothing. I mean, Mars is another good one. Very,
Yeah.
Mars, he's just always creating new stuff. But I've seen these guys that did that, right? And I think that's the evolution of the hobby as it grows, right? Because there's some guys that are like, people around the world are hollering evolution, evolution. Those people are hollering, or everybody around the world is hollering revolution, revolution. Those people are hollering evolution, evolution. We want our thumbs.
Mars gets me. He gets me every time. Every time Mars does a video, he goes, "Oh, I used a Lego part." I said, "The hell you did? Let me see that." I'll rewind. Let me see that.
Phone
You
part,
did not.
out of an OV.
Or a bottle top.
Yeah. The hell you did, Mars.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that's really cool with the YouTube community too is that you're seeing people saying, "Well, I've got a Ford motor out of this kit. You can have it for your build." So you're seeing a lot of people, mailing parts back and forth. So that's cool too. You didn't have that when you first got into models at 6 years old.
No,
unless you got the neighborhood kids in there. So.
I grew up, and when I was young, I was in a little rural town, and I'm sure all you guys can relate to this. Well, maybe not you, Frank, because you live in New York City, but I lived in Fairhaven, Vermont, a freaking dot on the map, not even a pin drop on the map. There was nobody. There was like one kid that I finally found that his brothers built models. They were a little bit older than me, 3 to 5 years older than me. Until this, and that's what gets back to what we were saying earlier. This is an awesome time to be in this hobby.
Yep.
Because of the what we're doing right now, the different discords, the different podcasts, all these guys putting it out. And by the hobby, I mean anything that you stick plastic together with glue. It could be aircraft, it could be armor, and it's not, there's a lot of guys, and Matt, if you're still here, he was, he's been in the hobby for a very, very long time. IPMS used to be real bad about, if you bring in model cars to the table, we're not interested, right? Like you kind of like we're the redheaded stepchild. I don't go to every IPMS show now, but that's not the case anymore, right? Like I go to a couple IPMS shows, and even Fred's deal, or I say Fred's deal, the Acme show is an IPMS sponsored deal, but it's car centric, so it is mostly cars there. But point being, we've all realized that we have to open up the hobby. Now, I said that to tell you that I've done some research, and from Matt from Lucas E. We're going to have to learn to understand and get a grip on, whether we like it or not, the Gundam stuff.
Yeah.
That Gundam stuff is huge.
Yep.
In China, Japan, China, I don't know.
It's huge here.
It's huge here.
And that's getting back to what you were saying, Frank. That's what the young people are interested in. So you're right. Back what you were saying, the hobby's not dying; it's evolving, it's changing. That doesn't mean that we're outsiders. That doesn't mean we're not accepted anymore. We have to accept those people, the younger people, in. Absolutely.
We don't have to just accept them. We have to invite them. We have to actively engage with them and invite them. And a big part of that is there are young people who build models of cars. They just might not necessarily be the cars that we build.
Right.
So we have to get more into the Japanese domestic market. We have to get more into the K trucks, those little tiny trucks that have the stuff. It's interesting stuff. And even with Gundam, look up, everybody after the video is over tonight, look up cell shading. Just look it up and look for a Gundam. Just put Gundam cell shading. They build a 3-dimensional robot and they paint it as if it's a 2-dimensional comic book drawing, and it's something.
Oh
It'll
yeah,
blow your mind what they accomplish with this.
that's cool.
These are people. These are young people that we should be welcoming because they have something. We have nothing to teach them. They have something to teach us.
Yeah.
So
Amen.
we have to bring
Amen.
them in
Yep.
rather
And
than
to
just stand them.
Yeah,
touch on that whole thing of what the trends are, right? Is that I believe that the young people want these characters that they're seeing in the movies, right? When I grew up, like what Fred made a comment in here that his inspiration comes from 1-to-1 cars. Well, that was me too, right? But all of us kids were cars. And like my grandfather and stuff before me was all military. They were big in the airplane stuff. And then, my dad and then myself, it was cars. And I think now it is definitely the robots. The robot stuff is just huge with the youth,
And fantasy and
as car builders, and I think the aircraft and tank guys have learned to accept us as car builders, being accepted now we need to make sure that we don't make the mistake that those guys made. I say mistake. We don't build the walls that those guys built for us to crash down for the new guys and gals coming in, right? We want right back to what you were saying, Frank. We need to accept them, open it up to whatever that they bring into the table. And here's the real truth, and I've actually done some research on this. Matt told me this, and the Gundam stuff that's going on right now finances both Tamiya, all your especially overseas stuff is financing us being able to still get for them to pour or mold or whatever the term is, the kits, the car kit stuff. So that's like a $1 billion a year economy or $1 billion a year thing. So we need to welcome them guys in because they're the ones bringing the money.
That's our future.
That's our future. And if you don't think so, go back 30 years and think about just the tools and the supplies that were available 30 years ago. 20 years ago. Right? Now look at Despae and Tamiya's involved with it as well. The nippers, the God hands, all these different tools that are out there. That's just one small example, the sanding sticks and the different, how many of us, and Frank, Jason, Bruce, I'm sure you can too. How many of us went to the beauty aisle back in the day and bought fingernail sanding files to work on our models with? Guilty.
Not for models. It was for my fingernails.
Well, that's because you're purdy.
TMI.
You remember the brown ones that because that worked, right?
Yeah.
And now look, you got sanding sticks, small sticks, files, and you get all this stuff that's hobby oriented.
Yeah,
it's made for our hobby.
You didn't have the fancy little nippers that we got now. You had a wire cutter that was like that long,
Yeah.
Or you were just breaking them off back and forth.
I had the number 11 blade that was molded into the knife handle that you got with the Testis Finishing Center, and I broke it. It was the first thing I broke. It was the tip came off that thing with taking it out of the box. I broke it. My mom was like, "You're not getting another one." Now you buy
the old white paintbrushes from testers that you get. Remember those?
Yeah.
And now
I'm trying to forget them.
I use those to apply the sprue glue type stuff.
There it is. There it is. Bruce is trying to scam me right now.
Yeah. I probably have one of the knives
50 some years I've been carrying these around. I got 7 of them.
Wow.
Those are original.
It's like we were talking about the orange and Frank, you brought it up, the orange and red testers glue. Listen, if you're happy with it,
it works.
Yeah, it works.
There's a word that I use a lot. It's called catharsis. It's an actual physical phenomenon that happens to you when you're in your happy place. Your blood pressure goes down, and your body releases hormones and chemicals into your bloodstream where you feel wonderful. Right. And if that if that tube glue helps you reach don't sniff it.
No.
I'm talking about the situation, not the actual huffing of it. But any tool that you want to
Using it
use
for what it was intended for.
Right. Any tool that you want to use, if it makes you happy, then do it.
Amen. Amen.
But if you want to improve your results, then that's what we're here for as a community, to show you how to do it and to show you the things that you can use in order to get better results.
Or, well, by better results, you mean, and better results is a perspective, right? It's your better result. Maybe his result.
For you, absolutely.
So I don't necessarily like better result as much as I like if you want to try something different, do something different. I know where you're going, but I am being devil's advocate. I personally will never use that stuff ever again in my life, right? But at the same time, if you're using it, doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't mean you're not. You know what I'm saying? You just that's your choice. And God bless America. We're all still free to choose.
Yeah, right. I mean, you could be somewhere where they mandate the glue that you have to use.
Right.
It's Tim Kalankowicz, my modeling hero. He really is. When I saw Coral Aura,
Tim's an amazing builder.
When I saw Coral Aura in Scale Auto in 1994 and 96, I saw that, and that inspired my model car building up until I got married, and then until I bought the house in 2004. I wanted to build a resto mod just like one of Tim's builds. And I actually got to meet Tim at NNL East back in April. It's nice to meet your heroes. Like some people like, oh, I got to meet Mark Gastineau. Cool. I met Tim Kalankowicz.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I see you and I raised you. I got to meet Mark Batson.
Wow.
I would like to meet Mark too.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my best to get down to Acme next year.
And you got to meet
that is the best thing. That is the best thing about this hobby. When you meet these people, I met BG, I met Fred, I met Brian, I met a lot of great people. Matt Inman from AMC. When you see that Acme is good for it because everybody comes there, right? Especially on the East Coast, so you get to meet all these people. I've never met anybody that old Tom.
I got to meet
all
Jason.
These different guys. I've never met anybody that I saw on the YouTubes that your greatest fear is always going to be like your hero is a jerk, right? I met Jason personally. Like I went to his house. Nice guy. And I've been, maybe it's just my luck, but I've been so blessed that everybody that I've met are awesome. And that reminds me, don't meet me, guys. I'm a jerk.
No, I don't believe that.
I am. I'm a jerk.
You know what I found? The more talented the builder, the nicer they are in person. I met Doug White and NNL East. That's Studebaker. That literally everything that Doug White builds is magnificent. One of the nicest people. Bob Jernigan, one of the nicest people. Jason Hanscom is one of the nicest people I've ever met. All of the personalities that I've met in person, and the better the builder they are, the nicer they are. If you see like these people who think that they're God's gift to modeling, chances are good they're not going to be nice people in person, and they're not as good as they think they are.
Yeah.
Oh, look! There's the best compliment I've ever gotten. My hero said, "You're not a jerk, Mikey."
Wow.
You're not. Believe me, I know a lot of jerks. You're not a jerk, Mike.
I did meet Tim. Tim and I have a history now because I met him at Acme. He definitely wants to go look at the old rusty cars at the show, but he doesn't necessarily want to get up as early as me and BG did to go look at them. I say me and BG, me, BG, Ted from Ted Model Cars and Guitars, and of course our good friend, big
Flippy.
old GI. GI mechanic was with us out there for that one, and then we were supposed to meet Tim there. He didn't quite make it.
I
as
hope to
early
be
as
able to one day meet the West Coast guys, BG and Matt
Yeah.
and Paul Maddox and all those. I'd love to meet those guys. I'm
Oh,
sure
me too.
it'd be a blast.
Yeah, we haven't met. I haven't met Paul, but I can tell you about Mr. BG right now. That is the whole time I was at Acme, and I met a lot of people and hung out with a lot of people and had fun with every one of them. But I met BG, and you could not ask for a nicer person on the planet. Really, honest to God, he is a godsend for sure. I hold him up to the light because he's worthy. I love that dude.
That's the only thing I've ever heard about BG is that
Yeah, he
he's
is
incredibly nice.
such a good guy. And that's the thing about going to Acme is those people like BG travel all the way from Arizona. You know, there was people, you know, the guys that you see on YouTube, a lot of them are there. It's becoming more of a social media gathering, if you will, for lack of better terms. I mean, it's a great show for sure, but and I'm not taking anything away from the show, but the social media part of it to get to meet the people that you see on the YouTubes
YouTuber.
and talk to them and hang out with them. I met Mark Batson there, and I mean, he every bit of what you think Mark Batson is, you know, like the funny guy that you see on the videos, and you know the informative guy. He is all that in real life, right? He's that guy. Sat down when we did our live. You know, he sat right down there like he was ready to go. He was, hey, I'm here. I'm gonna have fun with you guys. You know, and just everybody I met up there was just so awesome, so awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
And Rod, down in the comments, we'd like to meet you too. The guy who commented before that he likes to build in solitude. We'd like to meet you one day. If you ever near a show, come on down. We're the nicest people in the world. I understand. Believe me, I could be very ornery. The people that I work with they don't know this, Frank. This guy does not go to work every day. This is not the person you meet. The person that goes to work every day is like this.
Son of a bitch, I'm back.
Yeah, 28 years of this crap.
Even Mr. Z, Rick. I'd like to meet him too. Rick Zink.
Rick Zink, great guy. Met him at JaxCon last year, and I hope to see him again. Hey, Rick. I hope to see him again this year at JaxCon. Great guy. But yeah, now Jason, Blue Ox Jason said BG is a great guy, but apparently can't hold on to a beer to save his life. So he dropped beers. And if you guys know the story, the BG dropped a beer at Jason's house and spilt it. But yeah, again,
Mortal sin.
Mortal sin. That's alcohol.
Thank you, Rod. I would love to meet you one day, Rod.
Yeah, he says he's in Vancouver.
Vancouver, pretty
far for him.
But you know, talking about great people again, I showed up at Jason's house. He knew I was coming. You know, Jason from Blue Ox. He knew I was coming, but he had a Jeep thing that he had to do. But he brought his friends to meet his modeling friend, and the next day we were just hanging out there at his place having, and it doesn't matter who you are, what you are. It's a good time. You get to meet great people and have fun and do great things. And I hung out at his place for like 10 or 12 hours and just sat there and ate his. I was about to say I ate his sausage. Not wrong show.
Oh, say it.
Wrong show.
Say it. Say the weird thing, Mike. Just say the weird thing. You have to say it. You got to get it out because otherwise you're going to say it at the wrong time.
I ate some awesome sausages that they cooked on the grill, and I couldn't be more thankful for hanging out with Jason. That was a good time.
That's it. Release your inner Jeffrey Dahmer. Go for it.
Bruce, I'm surprised your alarm hasn't gone off to let us know that we're
Oh,
We're
it
not
did.
going nowhere.
Over our hour.
It,
We're going
it did.
all
I
night.
just let it go. I shut it off, said bye bye. Frank's having a good time.
So
That's it.
well, they said we're going all night. I'm not going all night.
We're taking it right into tomorrow. Tomorrow's actually my
Tomorrow.
wife's birthday. So we'll take it right into tomorrow. We'll sing a happy birthday once it hits midnight.
Happy birthday, Mrs. Frank.
Yes.
Believe it or not, my wife's name, Fran.
Fran,
Fran.
really? Wow.
So
Yeah. Frank and Fran. Yeah.
That's
Wait,
sweet.
No,
it gets worse.
No, tell the truth.
Francis
Fran
and
and Frank.
Franca. That's
It's
true.
Fran
Very
and
true.
Frank. You know she comes first.
Franca and Francis.
Okay.
My wife is I have a tattoo of her name on my arm, and when I went to get it, the guy goes, "You want me to make it in case, something happens? I could just throw a K on the end." I go, "No. Let's just get another Fran. They're everywhere." Dime a dozen.
They're all over.
You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a Fran around you.
I can see Frank now if he decides to start dating again, which I don't wish that on anybody. But what's your name?
This your name?
Thank you,
name's
Gloria.
No, it ain't. Your new name's Fran.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Well,
So
we
that's
have
that.
definitely chased the rabbits tonight, haven't we? I don't even know how much modeling we've talked about, but Frank, it's always love
Which
you, man.
was
You're
mostly.
awesome. We
I'm so
love-
glad to finally have done this. I've been looking
Right.
forward to this. I
Would
was
you-
so
would you
mad
like
when I got
to,
hurt.
Explain to our viewers why you had to take a hiatus,
Yeah.
and then follow that up with inviting them to, because I'm sure everybody's subscribed to you, but just in case somebody's not, they can get subscribed to you. So talk to us about why you had to take your hiatus, and then go from there. Share what you want to share.
Back in June of this year, my external hard drive crashed on that I leave all of my content on. So it ate up all of my lead time. Then I got really tired working, like trying to catch up so I could keep releasing stuff. So I took a couple of weeks off. I come back from doing that. I'm at work on first I went into anaphylactic shock from an apple peel. Who does that? So I went into anaphylactic.
This is the part of the story I love hearing.
I looked like a chameleon. I swear, my eyes were like, it was like one eye was looking over here. It was crazy. So then August 16th, I'm at work and I'm putting a ladder back on the work truck, and all of a sudden I heard this in my shoulder, and it was my tendon, my bicep tendon at the top snapped, and now it's like bunched up over here. Like, you see how my bicep is over here when it's usually over here? It's because the tendon is snapped. So I had to go out on disability for work. And one of the things that they say is you're not allowed to engage in commercial activity while you're out on any type of leave. So the company that I work for, which shall remain nameless because they don't like being spoken about, and I don't like speaking about them, they would leave something like that up to interpretation, that they get to determine what the actual reason, like whether or not what you did is commercial activity. So I demonetized the channel, and I even stopped making content. It's not like I was filming while I was building. I was building, but I couldn't film. I didn't want to film anything that they could come back and say, looks like you filmed this on such and such.
Right.
I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So I had to take 3 months off. So I lost a lot of momentum. Mike, you were saying like guys like me and Joe came on really strong. All that momentum just came to a grinding halt, and I had to wait until I returned to work. So that was November 18th. I came back.
But at the same time, because of the support, not solely because you create great content, but the support from your fellow, I mean, I know
Absolutely.
personally, I shouted out, we shouted out
Yes.
on this channel, and I
Yes.
know each one of the and that gets back to the community thing, right? We support each other.
Yes. That's the best part about. You would think that something, because there's not money to be made. Like, nobody's gonna make a living making content for modeling on YouTube.
No.
I think there's one guy who does, and that's mostly from his Patreon. That's and he does armor. But I don't think that there's anybody who makes enough money. We do this to be part of a community and to have something that people can use as a knowledge resource, so that they can take their hobby where they want it to go. And even if it's just watching some fat idiot in a basement in Ronkonkoma joke around while he builds lackluster, mediocre models.
Right. We and if you tuned in last week, Chris brought it up. Chris from Scale Speed Garage.
Yes.
He behind the scenes, he had offered the AMC livecast a opportunity to for us to make money, to get monetized off of using him as a sponsor. And he said it, and we he's the reason he said it was because Bruce and Jason and I, we don't want to monetize this. This isn't about money. We don't make any money off of this. And when he offered us money, we were like, no, we don't want money. Offer a bigger discount to the viewers, and then we go from there. We'll move on from there. And that's what that's why I love Jason and Bruce. They're not in this hobby to make money. They're not in this. They're not trying to monetize and get. In fact, I may be speaking for you guys, but we actually don't want to. We don't want money involved. This is our hobby, right?
Yeah.
If you can give us something and we present it to you, and you're going to give us a free motor, or and we do a little spotlight thing for you, hey, that's great. We'll do that.
Even that I would feel weird. I had a rough upbringing, so it's hard for me to accept gifts and stuff like that. It would just make me like socially anxious because I'm a wreck. But back to what you were saying about Chris from Scale Speed Garage and the entire thing, like, I'm doing the series on 3D printing. And it's going to come to a point where it's going to be so economical and easy to get involved that you're really going to have to at some point. And I realize the apprehension, but once you see what you can do with these things, and having a knowledge resource like Chris from Scale Speed Garage, go for it. And especially now that if he's going to be offering a discount based upon his appearance on this show, you got to go for it. But even if you choose not to, I want you, if you can, because it's the holidays, treat yourself. Go on to VCG Resins. He's a sponsor of Dirt Road Cinderella. Tiffany, who's down in the comments, she's always here. Go to Josh's site and order everything you can, because I guarantee you it's going to be magnificent. And the same with Joel at Iceman Collections. The same thing with Matthew at MCV Products. The same thing with Joseph Osborne at Fireball Model Works. These things are elegant when you get them. And if you've ever done 3D printing, you look at these things and you're like, oh, great. Another thing I stink at.
How'd they do that?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
How'd they do that?
That's what I needed. Another reminder of how much I stink.
I spent 4 hours doing this. How'd they do that?
Exactly.
See, that's me. I will never get a 3D printer. I just won't. Right? And why should I? I got Jason. I got Bruce. I got
good girl.
Joel's been sponsoring my channel, since early on. And Joel, to speak to Joel and to speak to Jameson from Scale Finishes, those guys got on because they believed in me early on, right? On the Outlaw channel, and so couldn't be more happy. Can't can't support those guys enough, and they're doing it for everybody now. Josh is doing the same thing with the Dirt Road Cinderella.
Yep.
Tiffany, and she's going to be promoting him, and these guys are all producing awesome products. And Joel said it best when he was interviewed by Matt Lucas. And listen, if I don't offer it or I'm out of stock and somebody else, it's not a competition. Like, nobody's trying to take over the world, right? These
No.
guys all, just like us, all work together to produce product. They're producing products. They all work together to provide something for us as the hobbyists.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful product too. It really is. It's elegant. And when you couple it with kit parts that you get from your favorite kits, like everybody knows my two favorite kits are the Revell 1969 Camaro, which people keep bothering me into building one. I'll get to it. But also the 1968 Dodge Charger. That's my favorite kit of all time. I love that kit. I'll every time I see him, it's almost like what was that movie with Mel Gibson where he had to buy Catcher in the Rye with what's her name, Julia Roberts? He was like the assassin or whatever. He had to buy Catcher in the Rye every time. Every time I see a 1968 Revell Charger, I have to buy it. I have a feeling I might be programmed. I might have a problem.
I have a problem.
I did give up stalking Julia Roberts, though. The restraining order worked.
Yeah.
This time.
You have a problem, Bruce?
Well, we were talking about all our 3D printers. I'm sure everybody's seen my video, but this is what Joel sent us, or Jason and I'm sure Mike also.
No, I got deleted out of that package. Not that he doesn't do enough
the print
for me
quality
already.
on these parts are absolutely just amazing.
Yeah.
I don't see how they do that. Yeah. I wasn't joking when I said how they do that, because I can't get mine to look close to that good, but not that good.
Yeah.
And that's we'll do a little promotion here for the channel. The second Thursday in January, we are going to have Joel on the channel.
Nice.
And we're looking forward to having him here. What a great guy. We've had Josh on here. We're supposed to have Joel in November, and then schedules, you know how it goes. Schedules conflict and whatever, but we're looking forward to having him on here. And Jason, I know you put out your video, and Bruce, you put out your video. He did that just because we took time to accept him and bring him into our world. And what a great guy!
It was just a free gift for
Yeah.
And I really appreciate the free gift, Joel.
Yeah.
A lot of people get confused and they think that these are like the Joels, the MCVs, the Joshes, and we touched on that last week when we had those guys on. They're not conglomerations. They're not corporations. These are good guys that are in the hobby, appreciate the hobby, love the hobby, and trying to provide something for the hobby.
Yeah.
They work every day. They go to work every day just like we do. And then they produce stuff that, maybe that's their side gig for lack of better terms, but they believe in it, right? They believe in the hobby.
Yeah. I don't know how many printers Joel's got, but Josh told us he's running 8 printers at a time. It's like, Jesus Christ, that's a headache.
Yeah.
And going to work every day to do his regular day job.
Yeah. And people also have to realize, participate in the hobby as much as you can afford within your means. A lot of people feel that they're being priced out of the hobby. You got to buy a printer, you got to buy 3D printed parts, and kits are so expensive. Participate at a level that you can afford. Exactly. And then whatever level that you can produce the happiness that you want to get out of it. And then, there's a niche in the Facebook, in the YouTube community for content creation, there is definitely a niche for somebody who could come up with content for people to model and produce really outstanding results on a very tight budget.
Yep.
There's a big niche for that. People are looking for that type of content. People retire and their margins, they might be very thin, but they don't want to give up something that they've enjoyed their entire time. Maybe they've amassed the stash, or maybe they didn't, or God forbid, maybe they had to get rid of the stash in order to pay for something that was really important. And now they're stuck getting whatever's at Ollie's or a Hobby Lobby. You know, like, I understand that. And when I try to show techniques and materials and stuff like that, I want to let people know what's out there. I model within the budget that I have, and you got it. Like the stash that you see behind you, with the exception of 100 or so kits that my father donated to an orphanage after I got married. Perfect crime that was. He donated 100 kits to an orphanage. That was the perfect crime. Think about it. How much of a dirtbag would I look like if I complained? Because he said, get these models out of here. I want them out of here. I said, all right, I'll come get them. And by the time I come to the house and I get a letter from the brother, the Christian brother, the monk that ran the orphanage, just wanted to thank you for the 100 kits. I looked at him. And he's got this smirk on his face. Like, that's diabolical, Dad. I told you to come get them. But anyway, most of these,
that's like Sluggo was saying a while ago on the chat. Who has the biggest stash? That's all empty kits behind me, guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
this is a lifetime of collecting. I've always bought the cars that I've owned personally were always like one step above the bare base model. You know, like I don't buy performance cars. I'd rather spend the money on the, like functional car and then spend the money on the hobbies or going on vacations with my family and stuff like that. You model within your means and participate as well as you can. And even though you might not be able to buy the materials that you see on a lot of the channels or buy the 3D printed parts. Well, I got to be honest with you. The prices that these guys charge on their websites are phenomenal. They really are.
It's so fair. It's so fair.
It really is. For what goes into for the work that goes into it, you're getting a good deal. But participate as well as you can to produce the results that you want and the results that you're happy with. That's the name of the game, and you never know. Being a part of this community pays dividends. We help each other out,
That's it. You get a discount. You get a discount from here, this guy, that guy, or whatever. 10% here and there makes a huge difference, And I agree with you 100% on that, Frank. Just you got to work it. The community is all about the community. It's no less. It's for lack of better terms, it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a way to reach other people, but there's a technical word for it. Shit, I can't think of it.
Like-minded?
Not like-minded. It's when you hang out with people. You are. What is that word, Frank?
Part of a cult?
Particle. Oh yeah, that too.
I'm ready for that.
It turns into alcohol. I can't argue with that.
I've been watching him sip whiskey, so I'm just gonna let him hang.
No, I'm not even sipping whiskey. That was sweet tea, by the way.
What's the word, Mike? Spit it out.
I know. I'm trying to find it.
We're gonna be here all night until you think of it. We're not going anywhere.
We've actually been over our time, but there's a word, and I'm sure it's a great word, and I'd love to be able to think of it right now, but my mind's got a brain fart. But socializing, not socializing.
Here's a good one.
Camaraderie,
and then networking. That's the word I'm looking for. You can network without actually meeting people. You can network through social media, and network by network I mean learn things and get introduced to people. people that are commenting on our chat, they're networking. They don't necessarily mean to be networking, but that's what they're doing. They're networking. They're broadening their horizons. Fuck you. I'm done.
Hey,
Beep.
so I want to answer this question here. We got another person in here, Kay Nelson. He wants to know, how do you get somebody that's devoted to get a project that's been stuck on for a long time? How do you get them over the finish line is what he's kind of asking here. So, Bruce, you want to pull that question up?
I didn't see it. My bad.
Yeah. So I will tell you my side of it is, for me, if I get that stuck on that detail monster like that, I will put it off to the side, grab a different kit that I don't really care about, and just kind of build it, right? And then that just recharges the batteries for me anyhow, because then you're back to painting, you're back to doing the simpler detail stuff. And sometimes I'll get the light bulb will click and I'll get a different idea to fix a problem that I'm stuck on the complicated build. So that's just my take. What is your guys' take on that topic?
Never force a finish. I am a fairly decent maker of sub-assemblies, and I screw the pooch on final assembly because I just, let's get this done. This group build has to be done by this date or whatever it is. And it's the biggest pitfall that I continue. I continue to fall. 45 years of modeling, not that appealing to a amount of, but it's the same thing over and over with me. I can't get it through this big, thick skull. Don't rush the finish.
Yep.
Just like Jason said, go over, find something else to work on that you can then mentally work on how you're going to get through your problem. And then when you're in the proper mindset to responsibly and carefully finish what you've been working on, because you have the potential to throw away all that effort for all that time that you worked on it and Hulk smash, something that you've been working on. You lose your temper and you bang, and you smash. Yeah, we all have. Every one of us has.
Every one of us has.
Yeah.
Yep. Just like what Billy said, don't rush, but because you will learn by finishing it, you got to finish it. Yep.
I was juggling the Porsches that I was working on. The blue one got stepped on because I was in a rush.
Yeah. How many of them did you kill?
He killed one, but he built 6 total, but he squashed. He was Frank Zilla. I know this story. He was Frank Zilla and stomped on the 6th one.
Well, and that's why we all did the turkey shoot, which was totally out of our comfort zone.
Right.
And that was 4 days, but I was shocked that a lot of people had their stuff done in 3, But that really opened my mind up a lot with some different types of shading and brush techniques, with that armored vehicle. Yeah. So definitely was a slump buster for me.
So how many of you guys have been fans of the Outlaw channel for a while? And Jason and Bruce, I know you guys know where I'm going next. Talking about putting kits away. Like, just put it away, right? I'll offer you a different argument in that I put that Pacer away.
Yep.
That Hellcat Pacer away because I was trying to build something that was, at that time, I was just getting back in the hobby when I started building that. And I realized that my skills weren't, although I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but my skills weren't there. So I put it underneath here, underneath my bench. And I built, now it's time to pull it out. I'll be honest with you, it's time to pull it out. But that's why I dipped out of that one, because I'm trying to build something that it really means a lot, and I felt like I could go through my building and just working on models and get better at it and not produce something that was less than what I could produce. I mean, to use an example, if I painted that, it's still in primer. If I painted that Pacer prior to painting the
Packard and the Charger.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Now, then you look at the Charger that's painted now. So I wanted that to be like a good piece. So yeah, I had to learn along the way.
Yeah.
And I learned from YouTube. I learned from old Tom and those guys that were not being hypocritical. They were trying to help me, right?
Yeah.
So had I painted it back then, it would be awful. And I'd
Yeah.
have to redo it again to build something. So
Well, you got lucky. You got some really good constructive criticism
yeah.
from some top tier painters, in the show circuit and in the modeling community. So that's that time where your mouth is shut and your ears are open and you just take all that knowledge in, And look at your Charger. Your Charger turned out way better than the Hudson,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but contrary to popular belief, I can shut my mouth and listen. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at it, but I do it. When
Yeah,
I know I'm being spoken to, I love to speak, but when I'm being spoken to, I'm like, okay, I'll just shut my mouth. Guys, we have been rolling now for an hour and 46 minutes. Frank,
Yeah, I
we've
know.
kept you up.
Just
past your
7 hours
bedtime.
to go. You can do it.
Yeah, you did it.
Just 7 hours to go. You could do this, Mike. I'm telling you.
Well, let's
When was the
yeah,
last
do our-
time you pulled a? When was the last time you pulled an all-nighter and went to work? With no sleep?
48-hour group build.
Yep.
Yep. I was
Do
up for
it.
3
Let's
days.
rock.
I was up for 3 days. And that
Let's
was
do it. Put a
72
pot
hours.
of coffee on. Let's rock.
Dude, it wasn't coffee. I was delusional.
That moonshine's catching up to him, Frank.
That was-
Sure is.
Oh, I need the shot and I'm ready to go.
So do you guys want to do the channel shout outs and then call this the night, or?
Son of a bitch.
Sure.
You caught me off guard again. I was prepared.
Well, I'll
for
start
this.
with mine. My channel shout out this week is going to be Stout Creations. That's Gloria over there. She's got like 225 subs. Go over there, give her a sub, watch her videos. She's building all kinds of good stuff over there. So go over there and check out Stout Creations, everybody.
Absolutely.
And I've already showed my card.
There you go.
Linda's amazing.
I want to congratulate her and her husband because they
Rube.
got builds in the Contest Cars magazine.
Yep.
And they just found out about it. She did a video on today, and I thought, awesome! I'm going to shout her out on the show tonight. So I happen to have a card.
And Jason, you stole mine. I got a card from Stout Creations. Gloria sent me a card, and you stole mine, so I'm going to just roll up on there. Gloria, thank you so very much. And we're going to get the. She asked me for one of my shop cards, so we're going to get one of mine out there for her as well. She's great stuff, great channel. She's doing cool stuff. Gloria, we love having you on here in the chat as well. Frank, who are you going to shout out?
I am going to shout out.
We did not prepare you for this, so go.
What do you think? You're going to trip me up? All right. I am going to first and foremost. I want to get Dirt Road Cinderella, not just across the 500 mark, which I think she's very close, if not there already. But by mid-January, I want Dirt Road Cinderella at 1,000 subscribers, and I'm not going to be happy unless that happens. Number two, I want to shout out Crazy Scale Model Steve. He was gone for a while. He was making some really good content, and whatever happened, he stopped producing for a while. I want him to know I got his back. I'm looking forward to seeing more stuff from him. And also, as always, I want to shout out my friend Frankie Frizzo, who had a pretty difficult year, and thanks to this community, they got behind him and they let him know how important he is to these people. I love you, Frank. And to all of you folks down in the comments, I appreciate all of your support. I appreciate you getting me through what has been, medically a pretty crappy year between my heart and all the other stuff. I just want to thank Bruce. I want to thank Mike, and I want to thank Jason for having me on the show. I want to thank Matt, Lucas C. He gave me a tremendous shot in the arm when very few people were, before a lot of people. I want to thank Raul from the Muscle Car Modeler. He took me from 50 subscribers to 150 subscribers overnight. I want to thank James Tester, James Duff, and Sean Svensson from the Automotive Podcast. They had me on their show, and it was a tremendously great time. This community is one of the best things that has ever happened to me. And what I would recommend to you guys, if you haven't already, I'm pretty sure you haven't. Have you had that silver-tongued Billy Strange on the show yet?
Oh, Billy's coming up. Billy's coming up.
Yeah.
The velvety sound of that voice.
We're going to get him to sing.
We want
song.
Billy on here. We're worried about putting everybody to sleep. Like they're just fall asleep at their.
Oh, that
dude's
man
got a golden voice.
That guy's got exactly. He's got a broadcast voice. They would have put one of those big microphones in front of him, and he would have opened up for Henny Youngman. There, yeah. Thank you all.
Got to sing the Foo Fighters song, Billy, my hero.
There goes my hero.
But really, guys, I really do appreciate it. It was a fantastic time. I really appreciate you having me on, and I want to appreciate the people. Express my appreciation to the people down in the chat and the people that subscribe to my channel. It's been one of the best years of my life, despite all the other crap. So
yeah, we appreciate you being out here, Frank, and we'll probably bring you on for some other topics here and there throughout the year too. I think it's
whatever.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
You need help for your taxes? Don't worry, I'll get you locked up.
Okay, cool.
I just don't want your proctologist. That's all I don't want.
Listen, Jason, Bruce, I might be speaking for you, and I think you guys will be on board. But Frank is now the PR guy for the AMC livecast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
why not?
PR guy, right?
Just listen, whatever you do something about this green room. This is disgusting.
We'll get better food next time.
Low budget. Low budget.
Shoestring.
Oh, yeah.
Raw string beans?
We're going to tell you. We're going to tell you like we tell everybody else. Do not click off your computer. We're going to go off air and thank you again for chat. We're going to do our thing, but don't click off. Hang out and get back in the green room. Somebody's cleaned it up, so therefore you can come back in there and not be, no rappers or I mean, Josh left a mess back there. Josh from VCG, he left a mess back there, but we got it cleaned up. So again, we want to thank you, Frank, for being on tonight. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, chat. We appreciate. We had a lot of really, really new faces in there tonight. Yeah. Jason showed up, Matt showed up, all the old school guys. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Big shout out to the Insanity guys that showed up. Thank you, Justin, and all the guys from Insanity that showed up. It's a different world for them. They're not model car guys, they're armor and aircraft guys, but they showed up tonight and we're in the comments. So thank you guys so much for that.
I got to hook up with Rob. He lives around here. I've seen him at the IPMS show, but I never I got to introduce myself to him.
I'm going to say this because it's on our channel and I can say it. Rob Ribb comes off as an old hard school, whatever, one of the nicest guys you could ever ask to me. Full of information. We've talked about it, and Jason and Bruce went on. Just a great guy.
All of us New Yorkers are magnificent people,
right? You guys come off a little bit hardcore.
It's all an act. We're nothing but huggy fans.
You're full of love, but
okay, Daddy.
Dr. Daddy.
Dr. Daddy. Chat again. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Who are you down there?
I'm Jason from KRD, Klein Race Car Designs. And who is this guy over here?
There? And who are you over there?
I am Frank from Frank's Model Works at Frank's Model Works everywhere.
And up above Frank?
I'm Bruce from Bruce's Eclectic World. And I want to thank each and every one of you all for coming. It's been a privilege having everybody here. Frank, thank you, buddy. You're awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Anytime.
And it's me, you're the Scale Model Outlaw, and just Mike, the scale model outlaw. I echo what both of these guys said. Thank you, Frank, for being on the show. We appreciate you. Love you. I literally had to get duct tape. I had duct tape ready to keep my face from not hurting from laughing with you. What a great show. Thank you for being on. And like to echo what Jason said, we're going to bring you back. We're going to bring you back. We're going to have some more fun.
Whenever
with
you want.
Yep.
Whenever you want.
All right, guys. Chat. Everybody, we love you. Y'all be good. Thank you so much for showing up and spending your time with us. And we look forward to next week.
Sounds good. See you all.
Night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Peace out.